She cleaned houses to survive, until she met his daughter and a single father who needed her most. She tied her worn boots, adjusted the straps of her cleaning bag, and stepped out into the chill. Another day, another house, another chance to survive. Life had never been easy, but Lena had learned that small routines kept her moving forward, kept her alive. Her first stop was a modest apartment complex on the edge of the industrial district. Inside, the smell of dust and old carpets made her wrinkle her nose. Lena worked fast but carefully, knowing that precision and efficiency could earn her more tips from her clients. She moved through the apartment with practiced ease, wiping counters, sweeping floors, and organizing scattered items. Each home she cleaned was different, each client a new story. Some were polite, others indifferent, but Lena didn't let it affect her. She focused on her task, on the satisfaction of leaving a space brighter than she had found it. By midday, Lena had finished her usual rounds. Her hands were sore, her back a little stiff, but she didn't mind. Survival had a price, and she was willing to pay it. She made her way to the transport hub, a crowded place filled with the hum of engines and the chatter of people. A small comm notification blinked on her wrist device. It was a message from a client she didn't know yet. Address: Sector 14, Unit 7B High Security Residence. Special request: arrival at 15:00, wear neutral attire. The message was short, almost robotic, but Lena didn't question it. She had learned long ago that opportunities often came wrapped in mystery, and sometimes the unknown could pay more than the familiar. She adjusted her bag, set her jaw, and boarded the hover tram. The journey was quiet, giving Lena a chance to observe. She liked to watch people, not out of curiosity alone, but because observation often helped her solve problems quickly. She noticed the nervous glances, the small gestures of affection, the little mistakes that revealed a person's true feelings. It was a skill that had helped her survive on the streets long before she started cleaning for others. By the time she arrived, the sun was dipping below the horizon, casting long shadows across the city. The building before her was unlike any she had cleaned before. Sleek metal walls shimmered faintly, and a low hum vibrated through the ground. The security gate was massive, with scanning systems that Lena had only seen in the news. She took a deep breath and pressed the access code given in the message. The gate opened silently, revealing a clean courtyard and a set of glass doors. Inside, the building was even more unusual. The walls seemed almost alive, shifting slightly as she moved past them. Soft lights illuminated the hallways, and a faint hum of energy filled the air. Lena kept her composure, reminding herself that this was just another job, even if it was different from the others. A soft voice called out, "Hello, are you the cleaner?" Lena turned and saw a small figure standing at the end of the corridor. A little girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old, with bright eyes that seemed far older than her years. She held a small toy in one hand and watched Lena with cautious curiosity. "I am," Lena said, her voice gentle. "You must be Myra." The girl nodded, clutching her toy tighter. "Daddy said you were coming. Are you safe?" Lena blinked. That was an unusual question, but she knelt to be at eye level with Myra. "I am, and I will make sure you stay safe while I'm here." Myra's eyes widened, and for a moment she seemed to relax. Lena smiled softly, a rare warmth spreading through her chest. She had cleaned many homes, but this was the first time she felt a sense of responsibility beyond the work itself. The girl's father appeared then, moving quietly from the shadows. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried an air of authority that Lena had never encountered in a client. His eyes were sharp, scanning Lena carefully, measuring her. "Draven," Myra whispered. The man nodded. His gaze turned to Lena, appraising. "You are Lena," he said simply. "I've read your profile. You are thorough, discreet, and capable. This residence is unusual. I expect you to follow instructions and respect boundaries." "I understand," Lena replied. She didn't need to say more. She had worked for all kinds of people, and she knew that sometimes silence and action spoke louder than words. Draven nodded once, then gestured toward the house. "Start with the main area. Myra, stay close but do not interfere." Lena moved quickly, observing everything. The house was unlike any she had cleaned before. Surfaces shimmered with unfamiliar materials, and faint patterns of light moved across walls as if alive. She realized that this wasn't just a home. It was a living system, reacting to energy and motion. She adjusted her methods, careful not to disturb anything important. As she worked, Myra followed at a distance, watching with fascination. She asked questions about the tools Lena used, the chemicals, and the methods. Lena explained patiently, noticing how Myra's curiosity went beyond ordinary children. There was intelligence there, a depth that made Lena respect her even more. Hours passed quickly. Lena cleaned, organized, and even repaired a small device Myra had accidentally broken. She noticed the way Draven observed them both, quietly protective but silently impressed by Lena's efficiency and calmness. It was clear that this father and daughter had been through much, and Lena's heart ached slightly for them. As the evening grew darker, Lena finished her work in the main area. She stepped back, surveying the room, and felt a sense of accomplishment. Myra clapped softly, and Draven gave a rare smile. "Good work," he said simply. Lena nodded, but before she could respond, the lights flickered briefly. A low hum intensified for a moment, and then everything returned to normal. Lena frowned, sensing something unusual. "Is everything all right?" she asked. Draven's expression hardened slightly. "Yes. This house has precautions. You will get used to them." Lena nodded, her curiosity piqued. She had worked in strange homes before, but this was different. There was a subtle energy here, something beyond technology, beyond what she understood. And yet she felt a strange comfort in the precision of it, as if the house itself was alive and aware. Myra tugged on her sleeve. "Do you like it here?" she asked softly. Lena smiled at her. "It's very different, but I like it. It feels special." The little girl beamed. "Daddy says only important people can work here." Lena chuckled softly. "Then I must be very important." Draven watched the exchange silently, a faint tension in his posture easing slightly. He had been cautious with every stranger who approached, but there was something about Lena, her resilience, her calm confidence, and the way she connected with Myra, that made him consider trust. As Lena packed her cleaning tools to leave, Myra ran ahead to open the door. "Will you come back tomorrow?" she asked, hope in her voice. "I will," Lena replied, "and we'll make this house sparkle even more." Draven nodded once, approving. "Good, and Lena, be cautious. Not everything here is ordinary." Lena paused, considering his words. She had survived much in her life, but she knew instinctively that this job would be unlike any she had done before. There was more at stake here than cleanliness. Somehow, she would have to navigate this strange new world while keeping both Myra and herself safe. As she stepped out into the night, the city lights reflecting off wet streets, Lena felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. She had survived by her wits and hard work, but now there was the possibility of connection, of belonging, and perhaps even of making a difference in a life that needed her. The day had been ordinary in some ways. She had cleaned, worked hard, and earned her keep, but in other ways it had changed everything. Lena didn't yet know the full story of Draven and Myra, nor the dangers that might lie ahead, but she was ready to face them. After all, survival had always been her specialty, and now she had a reason to go beyond mere survival. As Lena walked back to her small apartment, she glanced at the city's skyline, lights flickering like stars against the dark sky. Somewhere in the distance, something watched, unseen and unknown. But Lena did not fear it. Whatever came next, she would face it with the same determination and ingenuity that had carried her this far. For the first time in a long time, Lena felt that life might offer more than survival. It might offer a chance to matter, to protect, and to belong. And that was worth everything. The next morning, Lena woke to the usual hum of the city outside her small apartment. She packed her cleaning tools carefully, making sure everything was organized, and set off toward Draven's building. Today felt different, though she couldn't quite say why. Something about the house called to her, whispered that it was more than just a job. When she arrived, Myra was waiting at the front door, bouncing lightly on her heels. "You're on time," she exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. "Daddy says today we're going to organize the storage room." Lena smiled, bending down to Myra's level. "Sounds good. Let's see what's inside." Draven appeared shortly after, standing silently at the edge of the hallway. His gaze swept over Lena, sharp and observant as always. "The storage room contains sensitive equipment," he said. "Be careful with anything unfamiliar." "Myra can assist, but she must follow your instructions precisely." Lena nodded. "Understood." The storage room was unlike anything Lena had cleaned before. Shelves lined with strange metallic objects, some glowing faintly, others humming softly, filled the space. Small devices flickered, suspended in midair by invisible forces, and intricate machines seemed to move on their own, adjusting themselves as if aware of her presence. Lena paused for a moment, taking it all in. "This is incredible," Myra whispered, running her fingers over a floating cube that shifted and rotated gently. "Do you think it's alive?" Lena chuckled softly. "I think it's more like it's smart, but alive maybe in its own way." As Lena began organizing the equipment, she noticed patterns in the arrangement. The machines were not random. Each seemed to have a place, a function. She adjusted a few objects slightly to align with the others, careful not to disturb anything important. Myra watched her with fascination, asking questions about how things worked, and Lena explained patiently, using simple terms that made sense even in this strange environment. Hours passed quickly. Lena moved efficiently, cleaning dust from delicate surfaces, straightening objects, and ensuring that the room looked orderly. Myra helped, passing tools and carrying small items, her energy and curiosity making the work lighter. Draven observed quietly, occasionally making a note or adjusting something himself, but mostly letting Lena take the lead. "You have a natural talent for this," Draven finally said, his voice low and steady. "Not many people could handle the precision required here without fear or hesitation." Lena shrugged, a little embarrassed. "I've had to be careful my whole life. I notice details other people miss." Draven nodded, seemingly satisfied with the answer. Myra smiled, clearly proud of Lena. "See, Daddy, I told you she's special." The moment was interrupted by a sudden flicker of lights and a low hum that grew louder. Lena instinctively stepped back, scanning the room. Some of the floating devices shifted violently, spinning faster, and a soft vibration ran through the floor. "What's happening?" Myra asked, her small hands gripping Lena's arm. Draven's expression tightened. "Precautionary measures, do not panic." "Lena, stay calm and keep Myra safe." Lena took a deep breath. She had faced emergencies before, but this was different. These machines were far beyond anything she had seen, yet her instincts told her they were responding to the presence of an outside force, or testing her. Carefully, she guided Myra to a safe corner of the room, away from the floating equipment. "It's okay," Lena said softly, trying to calm the girl. "We just need to stay calm and everything will be fine." The devices eventually slowed, returning to their previous positions. Lena exhaled slowly, her heart still racing. Myra clung to her hand tightly, her small body trembling slightly. "See, everything is fine now," Lena reassured her. "Sometimes things move on their own. It's not dangerous if we stay careful." Draven studied Lena for a long moment, his eyes revealing a hint of something deeper than curiosity, respect perhaps, or cautious approval. "You handled that well," he said. "Most people would have panicked." Lena nodded, brushing off the compliment. She had learned long ago that composure was often more valuable than strength. In this house, and perhaps in life, it was her intelligence and calmness that mattered most. As the day continued, Lena noticed small signs that not everything in the building was ordinary. Tiny cameras or sensors hid in corners, scanning and recording, but none seemed hostile. Subtle shifts in the air hinted at forces she could not see. And Myra, for her part, moved with ease among the unusual technology, clearly accustomed to its presence. Lena realized that this child had been raised in an extraordinary environment, and she felt a deep sense of responsibility to protect her. During a break, Lena and Myra sat near a small window overlooking the city. Myra handed Lena a cup of warm tea, her small hands trembling slightly from excitement. "Do you like it here?" she asked softly. "I do," Lena admitted. "It's very different, but there's something special about it, and you make it even better." Myra beamed. "Daddy says I'm lucky to have you." Lena's heart warmed. She had survived by herself for so long, always careful, always wary, always alone. But here, with Myra, she felt a connection she hadn't felt in years. Something about this child, about this house, made Lena believe that life could be more than just survival. The calm of the afternoon was broken by a subtle shift in the hum of the building. Lena noticed first, a flicker in the lights near the hallway entrance. She stood quickly, motioning for Myra to follow her. "Stay close," she whispered. Draven appeared almost instantly, his expression tense. "You've noticed it too," he said. "Good, be ready." Before Lena could respond, a faint sound echoed through the hallway, something like metal scraping against metal, moving fast and deliberately. Myra squeezed Lena's hand tightly. "They're here," Draven said quietly. "Stay behind me." Lena's mind raced. She had faced dangers before, but nothing like this. The shadows at the edge of the corridor were unlike anything she had seen, tall, sleek figures moving silently, scanning the room with mechanical precision. Lena realized immediately that these were not ordinary humans. Somehow they had come for Draven and Myra, though why she didn't know yet. She assessed the situation quickly. The devices in the storage room could be useful, but she didn't understand them fully. What she did understand was her own strength, observation, improvisation, and human instinct. She began to move silently, positioning herself near a floating device that hummed faintly. Myra whispered, "Lena, what are we going to do?" "We're going to be clever," Lena replied softly. "We'll get through this together, just stay close and trust me." The first shadow moved forward, its steps silent on the floor. Lena focused, noticing a pattern in its motion. She nudged one of the floating objects slightly, and it shifted with a soft click, creating a barrier in the path of the intruder. The figure paused, then recalculated its movement. Draven glanced at her with a hint of surprise. "Impressive," he muttered. "Not many humans would think so quickly." Lena smiled faintly. "We're humans. Quick thinking is part of our survival." Another figure entered, but Lena had already planned. She guided Myra behind a reinforced console while using a small remote device she found in the storage room to trigger a low-energy pulse. The figure staggered slightly, confused by the interference. Lena realized that, even against technology far beyond her own, human intuition and adaptability could make a difference. The encounter lasted only minutes, but it felt much longer. When the shadows retreated, Lena exhaled deeply, checking on Myra. The girl's eyes were wide but trusting. Draven's expression had softened, a rare moment of approval passing between them. "You did well," Draven said quietly. "You protected her." Lena shrugged. "We protect each other, that's what humans do." Myra hugged her tightly. "I knew you were special," she whispered. As the adrenaline faded, Lena cleaned up the minor disruptions caused by the encounter, restoring the devices to their proper positions. She realized that this job was no longer just about cleaning. It was about survival, protection, and understanding a world far beyond what she had ever imagined. By evening, the house returned to its usual calm. Lena sat with Myra, helping her with a simple task of organizing her toys. The little girl's laughter filled the room, a small reminder that even in extraordinary circumstances, humanity could find moments of joy. Draven observed them quietly from the hallway, his gaze thoughtful. He had seen many humans in his life, but Lena was different. She combined intelligence, courage, and empathy in a way that impressed him. Perhaps he considered she was exactly what they needed. As Lena packed her tools to leave, Myra ran ahead to the door. "Will you come back tomorrow?" she asked hopefully. "I will," Lena promised. "And we'll face anything together, okay?" Myra nodded, smiling. Lena left the house, feeling the weight of what had happened, but also a new sense of purpose. She was no longer just surviving, she was part of something bigger. The city lights stretched before her as she walked home, reflecting on the day. She didn't yet know all the dangers that lay ahead, nor the full story of Draven and Myra. But she knew one thing for certain. Her human instincts, courage, and heart had made a difference today. And tomorrow they would be even stronger. The next morning, Lena woke before dawn, as usual. The city outside was quiet, the streets damp from overnight rain. Her mind, however, was full of thoughts about yesterday's events. She knew that the shadowy figures that had attacked the house were not ordinary humans. Somehow, they had come for Draven and Myra, though she still didn't know why. She dressed quickly and packed her tools, double-checking everything. Today, she felt a mix of excitement and tension. There was a strange energy in Draven's building that pulled at her curiosity. She had survived many challenges before, but this was different. Here, survival was about more than strength. It was about observation, cleverness, and understanding the unknown. When she arrived, Myra was already waiting, bouncing lightly on her heels. "Good morning, Lena," she exclaimed. "Daddy says today we're going to check the outer areas?" Lena smiled. "That sounds interesting. Let's see what we can learn." Draven appeared a moment later, his expression cautious but not unkind. "The outer areas contain monitoring systems. They are sensitive and can detect movement. I want you to familiarize yourself, Lena, but do not touch anything you do not understand. Myra can assist under your guidance." Lena nodded. "Understood." The outer areas were different from anything Lena had cleaned before. Wide corridors with glowing panels and sliding doors led to rooms filled with strange devices. Some hummed with energy, others displayed shifting holographic maps. Lena moved carefully, observing everything. She noticed the patterns of energy flows and the way the devices responded to her presence. Myra ran ahead, her small hands brushing against the panels as if she could sense their purpose. Lena followed, keeping a careful eye on her. "Be careful," Lena said softly. "Some of these devices are delicate." Myra nodded, her expression serious for a child so young. "I can help," she said. As they moved deeper into the building, Lena began to understand a bit more about Draven's life. He wasn't just a single father. He was a guardian of something important, something that others wanted to control. The technology around them was advanced, beyond anything Lena had ever seen, and it was clear that Myra had abilities that set her apart. Lena realized that protecting the child was now as important as cleaning. They reached a large room at the end of a corridor. Holographic screens displayed moving images of the city, scanning every street, every building. Lena's eyes widened. "This is incredible," she whispered. Draven stood behind her. "It is a monitoring room. It helps us stay aware of potential threats. And yes, Lena, there are threats. Yesterday's visitors were only a warning." Lena absorbed his words. She had faced danger before, but never like this. Her mind began to work, assessing how she could help, how she could use her human skills to protect Myra and support Draven. She had no advanced technology of her own, but she had observation, intuition, and the ability to think quickly under pressure. "Do you want to try monitoring?" Lena asked Myra gently. Myra nodded eagerly. "Yes." Lena guided her, showing her how to read simple patterns on the screens. Myra's eyes sparkled with understanding, and Lena felt a strange sense of pride. Even in this extraordinary environment, human patience, guidance, and teaching could make a difference. Suddenly, an alert flashed across one of the screens. Red lights blinked, and a soft alarm sounded. Lena's heart jumped. "What's happening?" she asked. Draven's expression darkened. "They've returned, more of the shadow figures. This time they are trying to bypass the outer security systems." Lena's mind raced. The shadows were skilled and technologically advanced, but they lacked human intuition. She quickly scanned the room, noticing potential weak points that the attackers might exploit. Then she remembered the tools she had seen in the storage room, small devices, simple mechanisms that could create distractions. "Follow me," she said to Myra, grabbing her hand. "We're going to help protect the building." Draven studied her briefly. "You are clever," he said. "Very well, but be careful." Lena led Myra to a control panel with simple override buttons. Using her observation and reasoning, she triggered a series of low-energy pulses that disrupted the sensors the attackers were trying to bypass. The shadow figures paused, their movements momentarily confused. Lena smiled faintly. "Humans can be smart too," she whispered. Myra's eyes widened. "Did we stop them?" "Partly," Lena said. "We've slowed them down, now we need to keep thinking." The shadows advanced, moving faster this time. Lena guided Myra behind a reinforced wall and looked for more ways to use her surroundings. She noticed a set of mechanical arms that could extend from the walls, tools for maintenance, not defense. With careful timing, she activated them, creating barriers and obstacles in the path of the attackers. The shadow figures faltered again. Lena realized that even though they were stronger and faster, they could not anticipate human creativity. She moved quickly, thinking several steps ahead, and used the building itself to her advantage. Draven, watching from the hallway, could not hide his approval. "You are doing well," he said quietly. "Not many humans could think this fast under pressure." Lena felt a surge of determination. She had survived harsh streets and difficult jobs, but now she was proving that human ingenuity could rival advanced technology. Myra clung to her side, trusting her completely. That trust gave Lena strength, clarity, and focus. The attackers regrouped, adjusting their strategy, but Lena was ready. She used a combination of distractions, timed pulses, and clever positioning to slow them again. Each move was precise, calculated, and effective. She realized something important. Humans did not need superpowers to make a difference. Intelligence, courage, and empathy were sometimes more powerful than any weapon. After what felt like hours, though it was only minutes, the attackers retreated. The building returned to its usual calm, the lights steady, the hum normal. Lena exhaled, brushing sweat from her forehead. Myra hugged her tightly. "We did it," she whispered. Draven stepped forward, his expression a mixture of relief and respect. "You protected her. You protected this building. You are more capable than I expected." Lena smiled faintly. We did it together. Humans work well in teams. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Lena and Myra cleaned, organized, and checked devices under Draven's supervision. The atmosphere was tense but productive, filled with quiet teamwork. Myra learned quickly, absorbing instructions and observing Lena's methods. Lena realized that teaching and guiding this child was now as important as any cleaning task. By evening, Lena packed her tools to leave. Myra ran to the door, a bright smile on her face. "Will you come back tomorrow?" she asked eagerly. "I will," Lena promised. "And tomorrow we'll be ready for anything." As Lena walked through the city streets, the events of the day replayed in her mind. She had faced danger, protected a child, and discovered that human ingenuity and courage could make a real difference, even against technologically superior threats. For the first time, she felt that her life had a new purpose, one beyond survival. She realized something important. Humans were capable of more than she had ever imagined. Observation, quick thinking, teamwork, and empathy were weapons in their own right, and she had all of them. Lena returned home that night, exhausted but invigorated. The city outside was quiet, lights reflecting on wet streets, and she felt a growing sense of connection to Myra, to Draven, and to the idea that humans could face extraordinary challenges and come out stronger. Tomorrow, she would return to the building. She would continue to clean, organize, and protect. She would continue to prove that humans were capable, resourceful, and brave. And most importantly, she would continue to be there for Myra, who now trusted her completely. For Lena, survival was no longer enough. Now she had a mission, a purpose, and the chance to make a real difference. And with human ingenuity on her side, she knew that no challenge, no matter how advanced or dangerous, was impossible. The next morning, Lena felt a sense of purpose stronger than ever. The city outside was still wrapped in the soft, gray light of dawn, and she moved through the streets with quiet determination. Her mind was focused entirely on the house and on Myra. Yesterday had proved something to her. Humans were clever, resilient, and capable of facing even the most extraordinary challenges. Today, she would put that lesson into practice once again. When she arrived at Draven's building, Myra ran to greet her with a bright smile. "Lena." "We have a plan today," she exclaimed. Lena knelt to Myra's level. "What kind of plan?" she asked, curious. Myra whispered, "We're going to test the outer perimeter today. Daddy said we need to be ready if they come back." Draven emerged from the shadows, his expression serious but not unkind. "It's time to take preparation seriously. Lena, your role is critical. Use your skills, your intuition, and your courage. If they return, you will help protect Myra and the house." Lena nodded. "I understand. Let's make sure we are ready for anything." The day began with careful observation. Lena and Myra moved through the outer areas, checking sensors, devices, and patterns of energy flows. Lena taught Myra to watch, to notice small details, and to anticipate problems before they happened. Myra's excitement and quick understanding impressed Lena. Even in this extraordinary environment, human teaching and learning were powerful tools. As they worked, Lena noticed subtle changes in the building's energy patterns. Something was approaching, something deliberate and fast. She immediately guided Myra to a safe position and alerted Draven. "They're here," she said quietly. The shadowy figures returned, more numerous than before. Their movements were precise, their technology far superior, but Lena had learned from the previous encounter. She quickly scanned the room, identifying potential advantages. Small objects, devices, even simple tools could become obstacles, distractions, or traps. Lena's human ingenuity was now her greatest weapon. The first figure advanced toward the main control panel. Lena nudged a hovering device, sending it spinning toward the intruder. The figure paused, adjusting to the unexpected obstacle. Another figure moved toward Myra, but Lena blocked its path with a mechanical arm from the wall, guiding the child to safety. Draven watched silently, clearly impressed. "You are extraordinary," he said. Lena focused. She realized that the shadows relied on patterns and technology, but humans had something they could not predict: intuition. She used timing, positioning, and clever manipulation of the environment to confuse the attackers. Every move was calculated, every action precise. Myra helped too, following Lena's instructions perfectly. She triggered minor devices that created flashes of light and sound, startling the intruders and buying valuable seconds. Lena felt a surge of pride. Even a child, under guidance and trust, could make a difference. The attackers regrouped, adapting quickly. But Lena was already ahead. She noticed a narrow corridor that led to a series of reinforced doors. With quick thinking, she lured the figures toward the corridor, then activated a simple mechanism that trapped them temporarily. Her knowledge of the building, combined with human intuition, had turned the tables. Draven stepped forward, observing silently but clearly trusting Lena's leadership. "You've done what many soldiers and guards could not," he said quietly. "Humans are underestimated far too often," Lena smiled faintly. "We survive by thinking, adapting, and using what we have. Technology can be strong, but humans are clever." The battle continued, with Lena using her environment and reasoning to maintain the upper hand. The attackers were skilled, but they lacked flexibility. Lena anticipated their moves, setting up minor obstacles and distractions that frustrated them at every turn. Myra followed her instructions, creating small but effective diversions. Finally, after what felt like hours, the shadowy figures retreated. Lena, Myra, and Draven watched as they vanished into the distance. The house returned to its usual calm, the soft hum of energy filling the spaces once more. Lena exhaled, exhaustion mixing with triumph. Myra ran to her, hugging her tightly. "We did it, we really did it," she whispered. "Yes," Lena said softly, hugging her back. "We did it together." Draven approached, his expression serious but not unkind. "You have protected my daughter, you have protected this house. And you have done it with intelligence, courage, and heart. Humans are more remarkable than I ever realized." Lena felt a warmth she had not felt in years. She had survived hardships before, but this recognition was different. It was not about money, work, or survival alone. It was about human ingenuity, human empathy, and the bonds that could form even in extraordinary circumstances. The rest of the day was spent restoring the building to its usual order. Lena and Myra worked together, cleaning, organizing, and checking devices under Draven's supervision. The atmosphere was calm, productive, and filled with a quiet sense of achievement. As evening approached, Lena packed her tools to leave. Myra ran to the door, smiling brightly. "Will you come back tomorrow?" she asked eagerly. "I will," Lena promised, "and tomorrow we'll continue to be ready for anything." Draven stepped forward. "You have proven yourself invaluable, not just in cleaning or organization, but in protecting, guiding, and thinking. Humans truly are extraordinary." Lena nodded, feeling a sense of fulfillment that went beyond simple survival. She had found purpose, connection, and respect. Myra's trust and Draven's acknowledgement reminded her that humans, though ordinary in appearance, could achieve extraordinary things when they used their minds, hearts, and courage. Over the next days, Lena's role grew beyond cleaning. She helped train Myra in observation and caution, taught her simple problem-solving skills, and supported Draven in maintaining the security of the building. Each day brought small challenges, minor technical malfunctions, unexpected alerts, or the occasional probe from the outside. But Lena's human ingenuity proved invaluable every time. One evening, as the city lights shimmered across the wet streets, Lena, Myra, and Draven sat together in the living area. Myra played quietly, occasionally showing Lena small devices she had learned to control. Draven watched them, a faint smile on his face. "You have changed our lives," he said to Lena. "Myra feels safe, and I feel confident that together we can handle whatever comes." Lena smiled. "I never expected this, but I've learned something important too. Humans are stronger than we often give ourselves credit for. We survive, adapt, and protect what matters, and sometimes that's enough to face anything." Myra looked up at her. "Do you think we'll have more visitors?" she asked, her tone curious but unafraid. "Maybe," Lena said, "but we'll be ready together." The little girl smiled and returned to her play. Lena watched her, feeling a sense of pride and responsibility. Protecting her, guiding her, and helping her grow was now her mission, one that gave Lena life meaning beyond mere survival. As night fell, Lena walked back to her small apartment. The city was quiet, but her mind was alive with thoughts of the day. She realized that her ordinary human skills, observation, quick thinking, empathy, and courage had made a real difference. They had protected lives, outsmarted advanced threats, and created a bond that no technology could replace. For the first time in her life, Lena felt truly accomplished. She had survived through hard work and determination, but now she had thrived through connection, intelligence, and heart. She had proven that humans, though seemingly ordinary, were capable of extraordinary things. The days that followed continued in a similar rhythm. Lena cleaned, organized, protected, and taught. Myra grew more confident, learning from Lena's calm and resourceful example. Draven's trust deepened, and their bond became stronger with each passing day. Through it all, Lena realized the most important lesson. Humans were powerful not just through strength or technology, but through courage, intelligence, and the willingness to act for those they cared about. Those qualities had saved the house, saved Myra, and had proven that even ordinary people could achieve extraordinary things. And in the quiet moments when Lena walked the wet city streets or sat alone in her small apartment, she reflected on how far she had come. She was no longer merely surviving. She was living, making a difference, and showing that humanity itself was remarkable. With that thought, Lena smiled. Whatever the future held, whatever dangers or challenges came her way, she knew that she, Myra, and Draven could face them together. They were a team, bound not by technology or power, but by trust, ingenuity, and heart. And that was more than enough to triumph over any threat. For Lena, the journey had begun with cleaning houses to survive. It had grown into something far greater, a life where her courage, intelligence, and empathy mattered, where she had a purpose, and where she had found a place to belong. And that was the beginning of something extraordinary, a testament to the strength of humans, the power of heart, and the possibilities that awaited when ordinary people rose to extraordinary challenges.